February 14, 2018, a day meant for love turned into a national tragedy. At 2:21 p.m., gunfire erupted inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Within minutes, 17 lives were taken and 17 more injured in one of the deadliest school shootings in American history.
So February 14, 2018 started out for me like most other days. I had a long commute into work. I had a really important business meeting that morning, and I needed to be there early, so I left home early without a chance to say goodbye to my kids on their way to school, and especially Elena. Elena was kind of the heartbeat of our family, even though she was our youngest. Just a wonderful young lady that was full of life and possibilities.
On February 14th, 2018, my heart stopped beating. Our fourth and youngest child, Elena Petty, was taken back home to live with our Heavenly Father.
And I'll just never forget, we could see Elena's phone in her classroom and it wasn't moving. So part of me knew at that point probably we were going to get some really bad news, but you always hope. You always hope that maybe she just dropped her phone on the way out.
The report saying the spray of bullets set off a fire alarm, sending panicked students and teachers out of their classrooms to escape.
Andrew Pollack left his old life behind after his daughter Meadow, an 18-year-old senior, was killed on the 3rd floor of Building 12.
She was the youngest of my 3 children, and she was the most like me. She was very independent, and she was going to be very successful in life, but that got taken from her, and we'll never know. But I know in my heart that anything she would have wanted, she would have got. When my daughter wasn't answering the phone, I started to think the worst. And by nighttime, we knew that she was murdered.
Those images from inside the high school showing the moments leading up to that deadly rampage and a series of apparent security failures by police and school officials.
The release of surveillance videos and audio, all part of a scathing draft report from a Florida State Commission, shining a light on a host of fateful security missteps.
It was horrific. Law enforcement was disorganized and chaotic. The school district didn't know how to respond.
If we can't protect our children in schools, then who can we protect?
Doors unlocked, the gates open, allowing crews to get inside undetected.
He got into the 1200 building because that door was unlocked and unstaffed, and that we say that that is a security failure.
A campus security monitor failing to call a code red after seeing crews carrying a rifle bag.
You can't really make a difference moving forward if you don't look into the failures. We're able to dissect that day and come up with real solutions that make a difference today.
The more we learn about him, the more we're realizing that there were a bunch of mistakes made by the school district, by law enforcement, by others that could have prevented what happened in Parkland. That's the real sad thing here, is that this could have been prevented. One of the things we learned after the tragedy was that there were warning signs. All of these tragedies, it seems like there are warning signs. Unfortunately, the school and law enforcement weren't talking to each other. The killer had been violent in school for many years, and the school refused to do anything about it. Law enforcement had visited his home 42 times, and he was never arrested.
Every red flag you could imagine. But the school didn't just miss these red flags, they knowingly ignored them.
How many schools, how many children have to get shot? It stops here with this administration and me. It's just not right, and we need to come together as a country and work on what's important, and that's protecting our children.
5 minutes go by before police officers even enter the building. Cops using surveillance footage on a 20-minute delay to try to track down the armed assailant who had already escaped.
So many issues here, not having a PA system, having a security cameras that are on a 20-minute delay.
Yeah, you have 5 minutes for police to enter the building, so think about what happened in those 5 minutes.
Everybody was under pressure. I mean, you had educators that were being shot at. You had law enforcement that couldn't communicate effectively on their radios. So one of the problems we can solve, one of the things that's easily solvable, is automating the response to these tragedies.
You can't rely on people in an emergency situation to act the way you think they're going to act. People don't even know what address they're at, you know, a lot of times when there's an emergency, or what floor they're on. I've seen technology where you could just take the human error out of it and make it as simple as you can when it comes to a response. And I know every second could be a life. That's why I stay in the fight.
Ultimately, the solution is not in any single policy, not in any piece of legislation, and not in any activist fervent prescription. It is in our hearts, it's in our homes, in our communities, and through our faith. The problem of man against evil is as old as humanity itself, and we cannot face it alone. It is my hope that senseless tragic events like the one that took my dear daughter will awaken people across our nation that we need to work collectively to create a significant cultural shift. The year before the Parkland tragedy, Parkland was named the safest city in Florida. And Parkland was a place where these things didn't happen, but I'm sitting here today telling you that it can happen in your community. It can happen at your school. I'm working hard along with a lot of others to make sure it doesn't happen, but you should never let complacency take over. Parents need to demand that their schools are protected. And the best way to prevent the loss of life is to be prepared and to have a plan and to have a way to execute that plan effectively.